I'd like to call this meeting to order, but because of no chairperson, chairperson needs to be elected, as we just talked about, and I will take nominations now.
Fine, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm jumping in with both feet. What the heck, right?
Any nominations?
Himself, and then
Yeah. So Cal would nominate himself. All in
Second.
Oh,
Second.
thank you.
I'll third it.
All right.
Favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Good. Motion carried. How about vice chairperson? We have to do that as well. Can we take
You
us
do
on
the
the vice chairperson?
I'll be a vice.
The backup?
And do you have a backup to the vice if you can't make it? Mary, will fill in if I can't make it? Sure. All right.
I'm a rookie myself.
This is only one.
No,
Andy
we-
Kane
My
nominating
second meeting.
himself
Works for everybody.
for the vice chairperson.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Seconded. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Move on to roll call here. Kind of an interesting way to start the meeting. Andy Karowski?
Here.
Jim Famery?
Yep.
Ralph Klipstein?
Here.
Mary Lemmeron?
Here.
Al Cronin?
Here.
Nathan?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want me running?
Yeah.
Okay. We had action on agenda. What was that?
Any changes or anything? No.
And any changes or additions to the. Okay. Any changes or additions to the agenda? Do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
I move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Action on the tree board minutes. Tree regular meeting, February 24th, 2022 at 5:30. Just for note, when I was reading this, I was thinking that's this month. Any corrections or additions? Got a motion?
I move to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Mary? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Action items, the update on the EAB Ashboard tree removal.
Thank you, Cal. It's been a year since we had a meeting, so I want to kind of update the board on the committee about where we're at and the status of our EAB project. For you that are new, we have a 5-year plan that we developed to manage emerald ash borer and everything associated within the village, removing street trees, park trees, conservancy areas, replanting, manage the material, the brush, the logs, the stuff generated through that work. So we are 2 years into that project. If you'll remember, the first year, the initial phase of that, we removed trees, management areas 1 through 5, primarily on the east side of US 41. And then this year, the focus and that project did take a little bit longer than anticipated. Never really bit off a project of that size all at once. So we did spill into 2022 to complete that project. 2023, we are moving in on the west side of US 41. So management areas 6 through 11. It'll be 375 street trees. So basically from Park Place going down to roughly the Orchid Lane, Avondale area. And in your packets, there is a map that will show you basically the extent of that area. The blue dots are the ash trees that will be removed. And then as shown in the legend, the green dots are non-ash trees that are inventoried. The yellow ones are planting sites that have been identified. The red are stumps. So we've got a couple stumps in the area that haven't been removed. And then removal sites are the black dots. So if we would, a removal site would be like if we go in, remove a tree, grind the stump out, and for whatever reason, we don't replant, then that just becomes a removal site in the inventory. So this is all GIS based. Our engineering department has the basic platform that this sits on. You know, so they have the streets and plow routes and salting routes and voting wards and, you know, all that information. So this is just one little layer that lays on top of that platform that they have. So it's really easy to graphically show what we're working on.
Okay.
So for management areas 6 through 11, and we do have 13 management areas. So last year we did 1 through 5. And in 2023 into early part of 24, we'll be doing ash removals in management areas 6 through 11. And then also I've included a couple parks. In the agenda item, I indicated Gillis Pioneer Park. So we'll be removing those ash at those locations this year. And I did write Waterford. I'm gonna defer that to next year. Those trees are in a little bit better shape than the other locations. And then we also have a conservancy area that parallels Glen Road and Buffalo. So it's kind of in the backyards of those lots. And then it has the Dutchman Creek corridor that travels through there. And there's about every other tree, and there's an ash tree. There's an ash and then a maple and then an ash and a maple all the way through there. Unfortunately, they're quite big, and they need to be removed as well at this point in time. So I've got that on there. There's 20 of them that are still in there for removal. And then we've got a little natural area on the west side of Shady in that same Dutchman Creek corridor that we'll be doing as well.
Is this all part of that original bid you did back in 20 then, or is this been bid like every year, rebidding, or?
My original hope was to use that original bid and then extend the project into these areas. On the advice of our legal counsel, they weren't comfortable with that, so he asked that I rebid this as a separate new project.
So it has been rebid already for 2023 then?
The bids actually went in the mail today.
Oh, they're just, okay,
Yeah.
so it isn't actually bid out yet?
Yep.
I thought I read something that you were going back to the original to see if they still want it, and otherwise you're gonna go out for bid. So this has changed since.
Yep, that was my original hope. And then actually,
I didn't read this.
yeah, I drafted a change order and had legal counsel review it, and they weren't real comfortable with that. So he recommended that we rebid it out. So that's where we're at with this.
Do you expect the price to go up quite a bit from, let's say, from per tree from what it was in the last bid?
Yeah, given everything that's gone on in the last 2 years.
How much would you guess, or estimate, any idea? Like $20 or 25, or any idea?
I'm gonna guess probably 25%,
Not that much.
but that's just a guess on what everything else
It's gone up.
has gone up, but
Okay.
we'll find out soon enough.
When do the bids have to be in by?
The bids are due at 10 o'clock on March 20th.
Oh, March 20th.
So then we will open them that day and then tabulate them. And then I'll make a recommendation for the park board meeting the following evening.
Okay.
So then the park board will review those bids, make a recommendation, in turn forward that to the village board, who will award the bid based upon those recommendations.
Who do we get the bids from? Or who do you ask for bids? Or do you publish it or?
Yeah, there's a 20-page specifications that I wrote
Yeah.
that kind of covers all the relevant things, you know, proper insurance, you know, looking at, you know, the expectations, safety, you know, everything that a contract like that is going to have. And then I have a bidders list that I've kind of established over the years. And people have contacted me, hey, can you send me a bid? So I've got about 33 different bidders that'll be receiving them. And I anticipate probably getting, at the end of the day, probably 5 to 8 bids from different companies. It's a pretty substantial project, so.
Competition for it, because everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You have some local?
Yep.
Versus, you know, the valley or the state or?
The bidder that was awarded the contract last year, I had 3 different contracts. That bidder was from Menasha, out of the valley. But he has the equipment to handle that size of a job. And then I had a 4th contract that was awarded to a company from Tomahawk. They came down for a couple days and did that project. And once again, they're set up with that type of equipment to knock out a job of that size.
Yeah.
They did the Argonne part.
Some days they're gonna be slower than other because they gotta drop them by limb because there's so many on these streets, you know, yeah. It isn't like somewhere in a park, you can, you know, fall a tree or whatever, you're really gonna take a lot of
Correct.
lifts and everything else.
What's to keep somebody from, because I live in Santa Barbara, India,
Yes.
we got lindens. I hate them damn things. But none of them are in my yard, but I've always thought, boy, it'd be nice just to spray paint my neighbor's tree. I don't think he can paint.
You know what, Cal, it's happened before. It wouldn't be the first time. Well, I have an actual list.
Sure.
With addresses and, you know, each tree is identified on a list. So, yeah, it's happened before, but.
Well, they actually looks like 2 of them are on, well, the other neighbors are in the blue here, which positive linden.
Okay.
The other ones aren't.
Yeah.
If you're linden, they should have too wide of a, if you're planting in the boulevards, too wide of a canopy at all. They should be more upright. Like the boulevards.
Those they're the Redmond lindens, and they drop the little
All year round.
seagrass in the summer. Yeah.
All year round until the winter.
We don't plant that particular variety anymore. I know it's not a consolation for the people that have. So there'll be 3 separate contracts for this project. So potentially we could have 3 different contractors or a single contractor doing all 3 of them. I've wanted to have multiple contracts because different companies are set up differently with different equipment, and they're going to be geared for different type of work. So we'll see what happens. Last time we had 4 contracts with 2 different companies getting those.
Those logs that are up there in the community center, where are those gonna be used for?
Those are going to be sold as saw logs to Ashwaubenon lumber.
Oh, okay. What are they? Are they oak?
That's all oak.
Those are all oak.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We get a pretty good price for them. Unfortunately, we got to pay for the trucking.
What do you do?
You know, it's the seller's responsibility to get them to the sawmill, but so they truck them and then just deduct that from our money that they send us. I've got 2 more oaks to do at Clipsign, and when those are done, then
Get rid of
that pile's gonna go away.
They've been there for almost a year, I think, already.
We started it last winter, and I haven't had enough frozen ground to get back in there
Okay,
to do that. It's really soft in there. Any questions about the Ash project? Mary, if you're interested in a copy of the bid specs for that project, You're more than
I
welcome to
just-
have a copy. It's good reading. It's great reading.
I'm a rookie and I don't know much.
That's a good question.
However,
That's a good question. Now,
I planted
Jim,
about 50 trees.
Tim, did
Where
the
I used
village,
to work.
did the village
That's the
do, or do you know of anybody that's done the
Lots of
treatments and worked out?
40 acres large. Big
Um,
old trees.
Yes. So the question was about
150 years old.
treatments on ash.
Injections?
There are some residents that are choosing at their expense to treat the ash street trees. The injection system at the base of the tree has been found to be the most effective. And there's different companies that can provide that service. Some of the more like homeowner type treatments, I haven't seen a lot of success, especially when you get to larger diameter trees, because trees grow in 3 dimensions. They grow this way.
Bayer makes a product, but
Yeah.
a big tree, you'd need a truckload.
Yep, and that's the
It's not cheap.
problem.
It's
No.
not cheap at all.
So the smaller ones, the bare
It works.
soil drench is a good way, and I do that.
It's a nice aesthetic. It works pretty well.
Yeah, and I do those on mine at home. But I think my trees are getting to the point where I'm probably gonna need to figure out a way to inject them. So back to the question, there are some residents that have chosen to do that, and we have notes in our inventory. So those trees have been pulled off of these removal projects. And then there's a paperwork documentation, that the contractor fills out just to make sure that.
What
They're
happens
doing
if
right.
they do that for 3 years and say, you know what, I'm done paying for this. I'm not gonna treat it anymore.
Then we would remove the tree at the appropriate time that it needs to be removed. Because that treatment, if you do the injections, those are good for 2 to 3 years. So it's gonna spill past that.
Okay.
So then we would just closely monitor that and remove it when it needs to be.
Because when they first came out, the Ashwaubenon, we had it here, and we were studying on the tree board. I went to the John Deere Landscape Seminar in Wauwatosa on the injections. They showed you how to do it. They had kits. They had a manual kit that would inject it, or a compressor kit. I thought it was pretty interesting. Since I cut down trees and I plant trees, I thought about it. Then we had a forum afterwards, questions and answers. And I asked, if I had the first question, I asked, if you do this properly, the treatments, what guarantee can you offer your customer who's going to pay you by the inch on it, and on a bigger tree that become a lot of money? And they said, you can offer no guarantee. So how can you go and charge somebody and not give them a guarantee? And, because it's pretty, at that time it was unknown how it would work out, what the results would be. So I don't know if Selner, if they still do treatments to trees, how well they're doing with them. They're pretty talented tree cutting business. I've had 5 people tell me they had trees treated by different people, not just Selner, and they have not worked out over this long period of time.
Sure.
I would have thought after seeing that serum go right up when they inject them, I watched it go up through a piece of hard maple, no time, 8-foot piece, they injected it, went right up to the top, it came out of the bottom. This will go up and then this will kill the ash, larva that's eating away at it. And this will do it. But yep, they would not offer any warranty. I had no interest after that of even getting involved in it or thinking about getting involved in it.
Sure. I've heard 95 to 98% success. So, I guess
It'd be
anything
great.
in nature, you got those kind of percentages, that's pretty good.
I myself thought if 60% or more of the trees would survive, whoever was treating them would be a good deal, because the price to cut down big trees and remove them, it's a lot of money, no matter who you get. And it's a lot of work. So I was hoping that the people would be real good, more people would do it, but
So the injection ones that people have done, that residents have done, I don't know that we lost a single one. But some of the drenches, soil drenches, the metacloprid, those have not been successful, especially as the trees get bigger.
there's a gal we did some landscaping tree cutting for, Mrs. Livingston on Rustic Way. She did that drenching right at the time when it first came out, and all her ash trees look really good. Pretty nice size right now.
Mhm.
They're looking good. I don't know, she does it, I don't know how many times a year, but she's doing a pretty good job, and that's a rare product. Yeah,
Any other questions or comments about the project? For timeline, I've got removals, there's 425 trees on this project, 375 street trees, 50 park trees. So they're estimated to be, the project completion is February 28th. So I wanted to give them kind of as many winter months as I can, for equipment access, availability, and manpower. And then final restoration and stumping to be done by May 31st of 24.
the stumping is all included
Yes,
in the restoration with the seeding, or is that done by you guys?
no, that's included as well.
Seeding for like black dirt and tree?
Yep. We have done, our staff has gone back and done some touch up with trees that had a lot of surface roots and stuff. We take our stumper and clean up crew and go and touch those up. But yeah, stump grinding is included in the restoration as well.
So like, if the bids are open, say March 20th, so you would hope that they'd be starting by May, is that what you're hoping for?
It would depend upon the individual contractor and what
How much they've got ahead,
what their schedule is. I hope as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
We have department reports.
Yeah, in the packet, I've included a few of the more recent department reports for review. Just kind of give you a good idea of some of the things that are going on, not only in forestry, but in our department in general. Right now, a lot of ramping up for the busy season in summer, getting bands lined up for concert in the parks and food truck rally vendors lined up. Not necessarily me, but in our department. Swim lessons, day camp registration. We just had registration for that on, was it Friday? And we sold out by 9-10 o'clock. We filled up our capacity, which is the first year in the 5 or 6 years we've been doing day camp that we did that. So that program is going super strong. It's been real successful. We did forestry related. We did a bunch of memorial trees last year at different sites. A couple of them at Clipstein, Ashwaubenon Park. So that was kind of nice. We did one at Sand Acres as well. Any questions on those reports?
Stuff to read it, it's good.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on.
Sounds like you've been busy.
Yeah.
Okay. Any staff comments?
Yes. As most of you are probably aware, Doug Santee did pass away recently. He was a longtime member of this committee, of this board, a neighbor of Kelly, actually. So I've gotten to know him over the years, working on this committee with the Friends of Brown County Veterans, and just kind of a sad situation. We certainly miss him and appreciate the contributions that he provided to our community. So I just wanted to pass that along.
Items for the next agenda.
I have none at this point. We certainly can provide an update on the ash removal project if the committee so chooses. I'd be happy to do that.
Clarification, when are the meetings? I read somewhere they're like every other month, and then you said you haven't had a meeting.
Okay, the meetings are on the fourth Thursday every other month of the odd months. So January, March, May, July, September, November. And then the November one, since the fourth Thursday is gonna be Thanksgiving, we move it to we traditionally have moved it to the third Thursday of that month.
Okay.
How is it you haven't had a meeting, you said you hadn't had a meeting in a year though?
We haven't, but if we don't have an agenda items or items to discuss, then, then we won't.
By fall, we could have a meeting probably maybe November, just see how this Ashwaubenon thing is going, you know, if everybody's on schedule and how it's going, you know.
Sure.
You know, even if there isn't nothing other important, say.
Yeah.
Or maybe we have, if there's something important, maybe September, we, you know, go over it, you know, if we have one meeting someplace, well, no way before, say next January or whatever.
Yeah, March would probably be a little early to do an update on this since
Yeah,
we're
because
opening
we're
bids
just,
in March.
February now, you know,
Yeah.
so I'd say if there's nothing but at least by fall, you know.
So May or July, why
Yeah,
don't we do
or
an update?
September even, or whatever,
Sure.
whatever that meeting would be, I think September would probably be a good one, you know.
Absolutely.
Will you update us though, how things are going with the contract and that prior to that?
I can.
I guess I'd be curious just to see how that process is going.
Sure.
Just because I know you guys are busy right now. You know, trying to get, you get one tree in your yard, you want to get it cut down, good luck.
Right. Much less 400
Yeah, well, I mean, but
25 of them.
well, they'd rather do 400 because they gotta move the equipment once. When you got one tree,
Yep.
they gotta bring a crew over for one tree, so it's not worth your time.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna price it, so it is, but obviously that's not good either.
Sure. Yeah, let's plan on May, July, September, somewhere in there. We'll do an update on this for you. Absolutely.
Be good.
Anything else we need to discuss?
We need a motion for,
Motion for adjourn,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed. Motion adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.